let's talk about transfer portal, where it's just crazy right now. We said that on Monday. That was the first day of the portal opening. It's even got more insane over the last couple days. Michigan's starting to get a little bit more aggressive as they throw out some offers as well in the portal. No Michigan players have entered at this point. Very few from any of the college football playoff teams, as you would expect. But there are a couple, I think, from Alabama. There were one or two from Texas. Not sure about Washington. I think they had a couple as well. But Michigan, the only team, I think, without any, but it's still very few. And Michigan players will get a week after their season ends. Any CFP team does for the portal to stay open for them. So there is that opportunity, which is probably a good move by the NCAA so these guys can finish out the season. But with that said, let's talk about some of the targets. And we have to start with Dante Moore, former UCLA quarterback, former 5-star, top 5 recruit out of Detroit. Michigan fans were disappointed about a year ago at this time when he chose Oregon and then flipped at the last second to UCLA. But as we're going to see as the years go by here, a lot of these guys are going to come back on the market. And as you said on Monday, I mean, part of the pitch for Michigan is, hey, you know, we understand you may not come here initially, but hey, we may hit you up if you end up in the portal someday. And we're seeing that with a lot of these kids.
We are. And I think it's a great approach, right? Go get your mill or whatever, your 1.5 mil and sell some cars for, you know, Chip Kelly Buick or whatever out there. And then come back here and use some of that money to fly your family back home and play here and be developed. Because this is transformational, not transactional, baby, is what Jim Harbaugh has been saying all along. And that doesn't mean that Michigan's not getting NIL opportunities for their players, because they are. And we've seen that many times and repeatedly. So, and it's getting better and better. But no, they aren't pay for play. And it's straight up, here's cash and here's a bag of cash and come play for us. But they have said to the kids, look, you know, fine, but we'll be here, you know, if you want to hit us when things don't work out, which they often don't, judging by the 1,500 kids in the portal now, something like that. Yeah. It's insane. So you look at Trevor Etienne down at Florida. We've been hearing his name for a little while now. His people may be reaching out. You know, Michigan's not allowed to tamper, but that does not say that his people can't at least call or put feelers out to other people. And we've been hearing things about him as well. Great running back who, guess what, wants to go into an offense that features a running back. Go figure. And a championship program like Michigan. So I think that's a real possibility as well. And then in the Indiana kids, right? McCauley is a kid. Is that who? Yep.
Yeah. Donovan McCauley. Yep.
Yep. And so anytime it's an Indiana kid, I like their chances as long as Mike Hart is here. And I don't know if he has history with the kid, but I do know that he's got history with the Indiana kids who talk. And that would be a great landing spot for him. So, but, you know, part of it is you got to wait and see who's coming back, too, and what do you need. Last year, remember, they took all those offensive linemen. Everybody's like, why are they doing that? They don't need that. And it turned out that they needed both of them, right? And those guys proved to be a big part of the offense. So it wouldn't surprise me either to see them over-recruit positions and then let them play out. We've seen that from Michigan, and I think it's a wise move. It's, you know, when you come here, it's you know, as Juwan Howard says on the basketball side, for competitors only. This is a championship program. What comes with a championship program means that you're going to be competing with other outstanding players for playing time.
Well, and if you don't use that approach in today's college football, you're going to get left behind, because there's no guarantee that your players are giving you that they're going to stick around, even if, you know, you feel like they're going to. I mean, anything can happen, including tampering from another program, which happens. You know, it's rampant right now in college football. And so I think you definitely have to go with that route. People did think it was overkill a year ago on the offensive line, probably some other positions. You know, when you saw an offer here, offer there, they were still recruiting tight end. I forget what school out of, but after they got AJ Barner last year, it's like, okay, well, if we think this guy's talented enough, we'll take him. And a lot of these guys, like a Dante Moore, aren't just 1-year deals. And some of the guys that got last year aren't either. You could still see some of them return, like a Nugent or an AJ Barner, but obviously too early to know what their decisions would be. Dante Moore specifically, though, I mean, you don't know what JJ is going to do. So I think that Dante Moore might be the perfect guy to get in December, because he's not a 1-year guy. If you're a 1-year guy, you're waiting to see what JJ McCarthy does. If you're a Cam Ward out of Washington State or whatever. But if you're a guy who, and look, you got to be okay with the possibility of McCarthy returning and you not being the guy this year. But You see from On3's report today, development. You keep hearing this, that Dante Moore, he went somewhere where he could play right away. He had to earn that job. He wasn't the slated starter coming in, but I think he understands the importance of development now. So I think it'd be smart to get a guy that's a little bit younger, even though he may not be as polished as you want right away, just because this is a situation you're in. You would not trade it. The fact that you have a chance of getting J.J. McCarthy back for another year, it's the price of doing business. Everyone's in a different situation in college football, but I think that's something to to kind of note as well with this, that you're probably not going to get one of those 1-year rentals until maybe the portal opens up the next time if JJ does leave. So this may be a nice bird in hand if you can land him.
Yeah, and I think they can. And I think there's been a lot of smoke out there that he wants Michigan now. And Jim Harbaugh offered him, 7th or 8th grade and made him a priority way back in the day. And which kind of, it rubs you the wrong way a little bit. Here you are, you've got this loyalty and he's right in your backyard. And then all of a sudden, but you cannot blame a kid for trying to better his situation either. And so it's kind of a catch-22 there. You can't burn bridges, which is what they are doing a great job of not doing, right, with a lot of these kids. So, it really remains to be seen how good he is or is going to be. We know he has potential, but everybody who says, wow, man, I can't believe we lost this kid from our backyard and so on and so forth. And, it's not the first year that he's going to make the difference. It's the portal has changed the game. It's going to be that 2nd, 3rd, 4th year or whatever with a lot of these kids. Look at the effect that Olu Oluwatimi had last year. Look at AJ Barner this year. Look at a lot of these kids that have come in. Josh Wallace, everybody looks at him as a liability. This kid was a solid corner on a championship team that was picked on a hell of a lot more than Will Johnson because Will Johnson's such a great corner on the other side. So he was not a weakness. He had some moments as all corners do, but he played really, really solid football. So the transfer portal is something that I think that you're going to continue to see Michigan cultivate here to their benefit. And to me, it's all part of recruiting now, Clay. It's just, there's that season and then there's recruiting season, and it's just going to be the way it is from now on. Yeah,
it is. It's kind of nice. Say something nice about the NCAA new segment. Probably a good move that they didn't make it a free for all where it's like the portal's always open. I mean, it's probably smart to have it just for the sake of the calendar and how these coaches have to deal with all of this. But it's such a weird time in college football when you have to build your roster and some teams are playing very meaningful games in just a few weeks. You said it. Last thing for me on the Dante Moore is like his, one, I watched a couple UCLA games and he was running for his life. He was pressured on over 40% of his dropbacks. He completed 53.5% of his passes. Clearly not where you want it to be. I will ask this though. What do you think JJ's numbers would have been as a freshman if he was the guy starting after Cade? Because look at his completion percentage last year. There was half his Big Ten games were under 50%, and that was with a very good team that made the college football playoff. UCLA was an average Pac-12 team. Tim Drevno was trying his best coaching their offensive line, but it wasn't a very good unit. I mean, I'm not trying to say he's going to be better than JJ. I mean, he was a higher recruit than JJ, but like you said, I think this kid's still got a lot of potential.
He does. And you always worry when you throw a kid into the fire that quickly, is it going to ruin his confidence? You look at what happened with Devin Gardner, later in his career at Michigan. You get pounded and then all of a sudden you lose your confidence. And if you don't have confidence in your offensive line, it changes everything. So I don't think so in his case, though. He's a young kid. And if he comes here, you've got the Joe Moore Award-winning line 2 years in a row. This year's wasn't quite as good, but it was still solid. It's going to be better here than it was there if he does decide to come here. So, and there's no question he's got the talent. There's no question about it. So, and Kirk Campbell's doing a great job developing quarterbacks, developing J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy's talked about it quite a bit. You know how I feel about Campbell. He's a fantastic coach. So, I think it's a distinct possibility. And what we're hearing on the Moore side is that this would kind of be the ideal fit for him at this point.
That's something I wanted to bring up too, is Kirk Campbell would be his position coach now. It was Matt Weiss before. Didn't feel like that relationship ever fully blossomed. And obviously Weiss was not a very good recruiter here. I don't think it's unfair to say that at all. And Kirk Campbell has been a fantastic recruiter. He's joined the staff back in January or February last winter.